Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda. Welcome to this important episode of Ignition Time. I appreciate you being a viewer. I appreciate you being a subscriber. The Ignition Time channel is about the country, it's about the economy, and it's about your money. I'm going to give you the important news alerts today, important information that you need to know going into the day today. On your screen, you'll see a tweet from Casey Hunt, who's an NBC News Capitol Hills correspondent. And Casey said, and she's actually quoting a Republican lawmaker that actually spoke to Politico. You'll get a link to the Politico article through the tweet, and you'll get the link to the tweet in the description section below. There's a difference in our crazy people and their crazy people. Our crazy people have an excessive amount of arms. Pretty incredible. And you'll see this screenshot from that Politico article, and I'm going to show it to you on your screen right now. There is particular fear amongst Republicans in Trump-heavy districts who voted against the Republicans' doomed bid to overturn the election. Many came home last week to find constituents, preachers, school superintendents, church-going men and women cheering on the effort rather than condemning it, according to multiple sources. Both parties have extremists. There's a difference, again, in our crazy people and their crazy people. Our crazy people have an excessive amount of arms. They have gun safes, they have grenades, they believe in the Second Amendment. They come here, and Trump's made them think that this is the Alamo. Wow. Okay. So that was pretty good information to start the day. Yes. On your screen now, you'll see something that Anna Palmer pointed out. She's from Punchbowl News. A major Republican donor passed away. Sheldon Adelson. Rest in peace. And she points out correctly that Trump put out a statement about a massive GOP donor on the same day that he died. It took him 2 days to lower the flag at the White House after a Capitol police officer died. And as of 2 days ago, Trump hadn't reached out to the officer's family. And so that is interesting reporting from Anna Palmer. We'll actually take a look at some comments from Trump in the past and something that Trump said today as he was boarding a plane to head to the Alamo. So you'll see this tweet on your screen from Caitlin Collins from CNN. Trump says what he said last week had been analyzed by many people and was totally appropriate. That is not true. That is not true. And the real problem was what other high-level politicians said about violence in Portland. He said that was the real problem. I'll actually show you a clip from Trump. But actually, let's take a look at a few examples of Trump explicitly encouraging violence. This is reported by Kenneth P. Vogel from the New York Times. Let's take a quick look at this clip. I'm not going to show you the entire clip because there are some scenes in the clip that are just hard to unsee. But let's take a look at some small segments of this clip so you can understand some of Trump's comments in the past.
So if you see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously. Okay? Just knock the hell. I promise you, I will pay for the legal fees. I promise. I promise. We're not allowed to punch back anymore. I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. Like to punch them in the face, I'll tell you. We having a good time? USA, USA. All right, yeah, get them out. Try not to hurt them. If you do, I'll defend you in court. Don't worry about it. In the good old days, this doesn't happen because they used to treat them very, very rough. And when they protested once, you know, they would not do it again so easily. Isn't it great to be at a Trump rally, really? Why? Part of the problem and part of the reason it takes so long is nobody wants to hurt each other anymore, right?
That was interesting. You can judge for yourself. Here's a tweet on your screen from Zeke Miller, who works for the Associated Press. And Trump, before leaving the White House, said, and I'm quoting, "As far as this is concerned, we want no violence, never violence. We want absolutely no violence. And on the impeachment, it's really a continuation of the greatest witch hunt in the history of politics. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous." Now, you take that comment with what I just showed you and everything you know about what Trump has done and his speech. I did a detailed analysis of Trump's speech in a video called Triggered on our channel. So I definitely recommend you watch that video, Triggered, on our channel. In fact, here's our YouTube homepage and check out that video, Triggered. I strongly recommend that you watch that entire video to understand exactly what Trump said and how it had a direct role in what happened. Remember, if A leads to B, and if B was not going to happen in the absence of A, you can safely say that A was responsible for B, which is basically what happened. Definitely check out the video Triggered on our channel. Of course, Trump feels differently. He said, everybody, you'll see this tweet on your screen from Josh Dorsey. Everybody to a T thought it was totally appropriate. Trump says of his speech, he was specifically asked, what is your role in what happened in the Capitol? What is your personal responsibility? And he said, if you read my speech, people thought that what I said was totally appropriate. The White House has not released an official transcript of the speech, but let's listen to what Trump had to say today, just recently. Let's roll the tape.
I think that big tech is doing a horrible thing for our country and to our country, and I believe it's going to be a catastrophic mistake for them. They're dividing and divisive, and they're showing something that I've been predicting for a long time. I've been predicting it for a long time, and people didn't act on it. But I think big tech has made a terrible mistake and very, very bad for our country. And that's leading others to do the same thing. And it causes a lot of problems and a lot of danger. Big mistake. They shouldn't be doing it. But there's always a counter move when they do that. I've never seen such anger as I see right now. And that's a terrible thing. Terrible thing. And you have to always avoid violence, and we have tremendous support. We have support probably like nobody's ever seen before. Always have to avoid violence.
What is your role in what happened at the Capitol? What is your personal responsibility?
So if you read my speech, and many people have done it, and I've seen it both in the papers and in the media, on television, it's been analyzed, and people thought that what I said was totally appropriate. And if you look at what other people have said, politicians at a high level, about the riots during the summer, the horrible riots in Portland and Seattle and various other places, that was a real problem, what they said. But they've analyzed my speech and my words and my final paragraph, my final sentence, and everybody to the T thought it was totally appropriate. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Impeachment, sir. Will you expect to be impeached?
That was from Josh Dorsey, White House reporter for the Washington Post, and he was retweeting a clip from C-SPAN. By the way, you'll get a link to all these tweets and all our resources in the description section below, so definitely check them out. If you appreciate the hard work that goes into organizing this material, putting it into one concise report for you, and the up to date information, all I ask is you please give me a like. It takes you 1 second to give me a like. It takes us a lot of time to put this content together. Please also subscribe. Please enable notifications. I would really appreciate that. Also, please share this video. Just share this video with 2 friends or family members. Now, on your screen, you'll see a tweet from Kyle Griffin, who's a senior producer for MSNBC. And he said during a briefing on security threats, House Democrats were reminded that the purchase of a bulletproof vest is a reimbursable expense. Think about that for a second. I would imagine being told that, my meal expenses, my restaurant meals are a reimbursable expense for my business. But imagine being a lawmaker and being told that the purchase of a bulletproof vest is a reimbursable expense. Now we are about to take a very detailed look at the timeline of events that took place last week at the Capitol. It is mind-blowing when you actually look at the timeline. Some incredible reporting from the New York Post. Now, Seth Abramson, you can see his tweet on your screen. Seth says that according to the New York Times timeline, the Capitol grounds were breached over an hour before the Capitol itself was breached. It is incredible that no reinforcements arrived at the Capitol in that hour-plus window. The fight for the Capitol was lost then and there. Now, what was Trump doing while all this was happening? New details from Maggie Haberman from the New York Times, and you'll see this tweet on your screen, which is from Ali Hedges-Macer. And Ali is the producer for CNN's New Day. And these are new details from Maggie Haberman on what Trump was doing during the incident. He was pleased. He knew what was happening. He just didn't want to do anything. And so Maggie Haberman says the only thing that snapped him out of it was being told he would face legal exposure on what he said at the rally. Mind-blowing. Let's take a look at this clip and let me know what you think. Let's roll the tape.
Which is, it's not that he was too busy because he was so consumed, which he was. He was engaging with aides as this was all going on. They were interrupting, telling him that he had to do something. They were interrupting, telling him that the Capitol was being overrun by his supporters. He was well aware of it. He was watching it. He was pleased because it was people fighting on his behalf. He was pleased because he liked the scene, and he was pleased because it was delaying the certification of the Electoral College vote. And those are the reasons why this happened. It wasn't just that a TV was put in front of him and you couldn't get his attention, which is a very different thing. He knew what was happening. He was back and forth from the small dining room where he watches television off the Oval Office to the Resolute desk. He just didn't want to do anything.
Did he understand that they could have been killed? Did he understand that they brought in those, wrist ties and that people could have been killed?
Look, I think most of us didn't actually know that in real time, but whether he knew that, he was hearing from people who were trapped in there, who could see what was going on. The images that most of the world got have been worse and worse, one after the other, and they have come out since the day of the riot. What lawmakers were seeing as they were cowering and running was much more explicit than what we were seeing from outside the building, for the most part, outside the building. So he was aware of what was going on. There were lawmakers reaching out, not just to him, but to his chief of staff, to other people at the White House. And the only thing that really seemed to snap him out of it, according to my sources, and again, we reported this last week too, is that he was told that he would have legal exposure based on what was going on because of what he said at the rally that preceded it.
Now, here's a tweet from someone who knows what he's talking about. This is Ryan Goodman, former special counsel at the Department of Defense. And Ryan Goodman says that Trump is either incompetent and dangerous in not realizing how this amps up violence, or highly skilled and dangerous in using the threat of something nefarious. And he's done it so often in his life that the latter is more likely. This time, the stakes are far higher. Let's take a look at this tweet from the recount, and let's see some of Trump's comments from a different perspective. He thinks impeachment is causing tremendous danger and anger. Let's roll this tape, and I want you to tell me what you think in the comment section below.
This impeachment is causing tremendous anger, and you're doing it, and it's really a terrible thing that they're doing. For Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to continue on this path, I think it's causing tremendous danger to our country, and it's causing tremendous anger. I want no violence. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Now, observe Trump's focus on impeachment, but the public has been left hanging because we are still trying to grapple with what is going on. We're leaning on conservative news sources, liberal news sources, and here citizen journalists like me are trying to help our community make sense of all this. You'll see this tweet on your screen from CNN Politics. Since the incident in the Capitol last week, no one from the US Capitol Police, FBI, Justice Department, or Homeland Security has actually briefed the police. Incredible when you think about this. And here's a tweet from Andrew Feinberg, who's a reporter covering the Capitol Hill. He's quoting an article on The Independent that says, former White House and Trump campaign officials say that Trump would have been informed. He knew of the online chatter about plans to storm the Capitol through his social media's close monitoring of pro-Trump online communities such as the Donald and others. So it seems like he had a clear indication of what was happening, and he didn't act decisively until he knew there would be some legal problems for him. That is what the reporting is suggesting. Here's a tweet on your screen from Aaron C. Davis, who's an investigative reporter for the Washington Post, that said that the FBI knew that something bad was about to happen. FBI report warned of serious problems at the Capitol. I don't even like using certain words on our channel, contradicting claims that the executive branch had no intelligence of the looming problems that was soon to besiege Congress. Pretty incredible. An internal FBI report that was actually obtained by the Post is a strong evidence of the significant intelligence failure that preceded the mayhem that took place last week at the Capitol. And as I'm recording this, NBC News is reporting that right-wing extremists are using encrypted channels to call for problems against officials on the 20th of January. This is the same day that President-elect Biden is going to be inaugurated. And some extremists are sharing knowledge on how to make, conceal, and use devices that could be extremely problematic. On your screen, you'll see a tweet from Devlin Barnett, who's a reporter who covers the FBI and the Justice Department for the Washington Post. FBI had reported a day before the problem that some were coming to DC, had urged that Congress needs to hear glass breaking, doors being kicked, and blood from I don't even want to read the rest. It seems like there was some indication that we are going to have major problems. In other news, also, you'll see this from NBC News. Trump has issued an emergency order to bolster inauguration security. The declaration gives Washington, D.C. Supplemental federal emergency assistance from the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA. So it seems like there are going to be over 10,000 National Guard soldiers on the streets of D.C. for the foreseeable future. And speaking of issues, here's a tweet on your screen from Seth Abramson, who took the 7 most used words in Trump's speech on the 6th of January, and a speech in which he wanted all people present to go to the Capitol because the country needed to be saved from, a nefarious outcome. And this image on your screen, pretty incredible that Seth would even be able to put this together. This image on your screen shows all the words that were used, and the larger fonts represent words that were used most often. So when you take the largest words, it says, want all people going because ballots country. These were the words that Trump used the most in his speech. Again, the 7 most used words in the speech that caused all the problems at the Capitol last week. And as I'm recording this, everybody said the Abramson reports that the 3rd Democratic member of Congress contracts the pandemic after sheltering in the Capitol with other Republicans who actually refused to wear masks. So this turned out to be on top of a domestic, I don't even want to use the word, a domestic incident. On top of that, it turns out to be a super spreader event. And while all this is happening, everybody, Congresswoman Norma Torres, a Democrat from California, is urging colleagues to support a resolution pressing Vice President Pence to remove Trump by the 25th Amendment. This doesn't look like it's likely to happen. You'll see this tweet on your screen from CNN. And this is what Congresswoman Torres said. All of us has a role to play in undoing the damage that Trump has done, not for any of us here in Congress, but for the future of America. Let's roll the tape and let's listen to what Congresswoman Torres had to say.
The Congress was convened last Wednesday for the ceremonial certification of our election results. So this was also an attack on our democracy. It was an attack on the peaceful transfer of power, an attack on our Constitution and the rule of law. It was an attack on the symbolism that we've provided to the entire world, that a people can govern themselves without the threat of force or the violence. And it was an attack that almost worked. All of us has a role to play in undoing the damage that President Trump has done. I urge my colleagues, when I was finally evacuated at 3 p.m. and while running for my life, I answered my phone to my son, Christopher. The call lasted 27 seconds. All I could say, sweetheart, I'm okay. I'm running for my life. And I hung up. I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to join me in supporting this resolution. But most of all, I urge Vice President Pence to do the right thing. Not for you, sir. Not for me. Not for any one of us here in Congress, but for the future of America. We are counting on you to do the right thing and invoke the 25th Amendment. And I yield back.
That's it, everybody. That's a roundup of all the news so far. I hope you learned something new. Please give me a like. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. As far as the timeline of the Capitol incident is concerned, I'm going to cover that in another video because this video ran much longer than expected. Let me know what you thought of this content in the comment section below. You'll get a link to all the tweets that we've referenced, all the videos, everything in the description section below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. We live in very, very unusual times. My goal is to try and help you make sense of this unbelievable world that we live in. Here's a little bit more information about me. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. Now, I encourage you to follow me on Twitter because you'll learn instantly in real time what I'm reading, what I'm thinking, because I'm on Twitter quite a lot. So definitely follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. This channel, the Ignition Time channel, as well as my Twitter handle, I discuss matters that are important to the country, matters that are important to the economy, and matters that are important to your money. This is an incredible climate that we live in, and I want to help you make sense of this unbelievable world around us. Now, remember, we release videos on a daily basis, so make sure you subscribe to our channel, make sure you enable notifications, and make sure you please give me a like, because that tells the YouTube algorithm that you found this content helpful. Now, keep in mind that YouTube does not always send out notifications on time when I release new videos. That's just the way the algorithm works. So all you need to do is simply bookmark youtube.com/ignition time. That's youtube.com/ignition time. And then you'll be able to visit the homepage of our channel and watch our videos at any point in time that you want. You can also follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. You'll get exclusive news and alerts on Instagram. Remember, follow us on Twitter because you'll get real-time alerts on Twitter. Our Twitter community is growing very rapidly. In fact, I've been receiving notifications on my phone as I've been recording this that our Twitter followers are growing, and more of our fellow citizens are following me on Twitter. So definitely follow me on Twitter. Once again, the Twitter handle is ignition_time. One of the things I'm especially proud about is our community, not just here on YouTube, but also on Twitter. Please comment below, engage with our community, engage in a healthy, a respectful, a bipartisan debate, because there's one thing we need as a country right now. It's a healthy, respectful debate. More understanding, more respectful engagements, as opposed to just arguing all the time and being at odds with one another. So I encourage you to comment below. Just comment below and let us know what you think of the content in this video and your thoughts on matters that are relevant to the country, relevant to the economy, and relevant to your money. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. As always, you'll get a link in the description section below. In many cases, multiple links in the description section below, so you can learn more about our news sources and you can dig deeper into those news sources on your own if you choose to. Finally, please share this video with 2 friends or family members. That's all I ask. Please share the video with 2 friends or family members so that we can grow our community. Again, please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. I would really appreciate that. I know that this kind of information, I know that the intense environment we live in is not a laughing matter, it's not a dancing matter, but I want to try and give you the news and give you the truth wherever it might lead us. That is my goal with the Ignition Time community. In the end, when all of this craziness is behind us, like I've said before, I want it to be raining money. I want there to be lots and lots of money, whether it's through stimulus, whether it's through a job, whether it's through a side gig, whether it's through your own business. I want it to be raining money. I want us to be happy. I want us to be smiling. I want us to be smiling. I want us to be in a party mode. I want there to be confetti everywhere. I want us to get this craziness, this unbelievable madness behind us, and one day we will, because I believe we'll end up stronger from this crisis. And one day, when all this craziness is behind us, we'll be dancing. And I'll be breakdancing because I have pretty bad breakdancing skills. And here's the rope. It was pretty hard to pull that imaginary rope. So that's it, everybody. I hope we get through this together. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for putting up with my skills. Here's one more. Watch this. That was me pulling the imaginary rope towards the camera. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Once again, please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Thank you. Bye.